Yeah. Good morning to one and all. We are all participants. So, welcome to you all for today's session on Introduction to R Programming. So, coming to outline of this today's session, what I am going to cover. First, I will discuss about basic fundamentals, installation and use of R software. Then, use of R as a calculator and functions. Then we'll discuss about matrices and matrix operations. Then we'll move to data frames. Then we'll discuss the most important concept in R programming, that is statistical functions that can be divided into four parts. First, we'll see introduction, frequencies and partition values, then graphics and plots, then some measures related to statistical functions, central tendency and variation. Again, some graphics we'll discuss box plots and bivariate plots. So now let us move to our first part. First, quickly we will see what is R, why we have to switch to R. So what is the importance of R in nowadays current scenario? So R is an essential environment for the data manipulation, statistical computing, as well as graphical display and data analysis. So these are all the major application areas where R is using and having more impact. Effective data handling and storage of outputs is possible using R software. So R is simple as well as complicated calculations are possible. Graphical display on screen and hard copy also possible. Programming language is effective, which includes all possibilities just like any other programming languages. So the R language is very similar in appearance to S language based on a software, S plus. So which is called a statistical language. Then R language is widely used among statisticians, data miners for developing statistical software and data analysis. One survey, so I have collected, which shows the ranking and importance of R software. Polls, data mining surveys, and studies of scholarly literature databases show substantial increases in popularity. As of February this month, I have collected the ranking of R. R placed in 11th rank in the TIOBE, the software quality company, which provides a ranking of all the programming languages in every month. So a measure of popularity of programming languages. So the URL is also given. So even you will see the popularity of R as well as other languages. So I have taken that screenshot from that ranking agency. Here you can see, now we are discussing about R. Here you can see in February 2021, R placed in 11th position. Same in last year, 2020 February, R was in 13th position. Now here you can see the popularity rating is increased 0.55%. So here you can see other languages also. So that is the importance of R language. The day-to-day, the importance is increased in the field of data science. So because of its popularity. So now here you can see some more information about this. Our highest position since 2007 stood 8th in August 2020. Then lowest position since 2007 stood 73 in December 2008. Here you can see now current last year, August 2020. So 2.79% is the increase of its popularity. So then coming to the brief history about R. So R as an implementation of the S programming language combined with lexical scoping semantics inspired by Scheme. S was created by John Chambers in 1976 while at Bell Labs. There are some important differences, but much of the code written for S runs unaltered. R was created by the two persons, namely Ross Ihaka and Robert Gentleman from the University of Auckland, New Zealand, and is currently developed by the R development core team, so which Chambers is a member. R is named partly after the first names of the first two R authors and partly as play on the name of S. So we don't have any abbreviation of R. This name was partly taken, the first two authors, Ross Ihaka and Robert Gentleman, and partly some name of S. The project was conceived in 1992 initially, with an initial version released in 1995 and a stable beta version was released in 2000. Then you can download the software and every resources officially from the R website, which was developed by our core team. So the website is www.r-project.org. Is a free software environment for statistical computing and graphics under GNU, that is General Public License. It provides a wide variety of statistical and graphical techniques. R can be easily extended with, as of December 2020, 16,796 packages available on CRAN as of December. This is the mirror of where all the packages are uploaded in the R platform. So the URL is also given. So here day to day many packages are adding. In addition, there are many packages provided on other websites also, such as Bioconductor, and also a lot of packages under development at RForge and GitHub also. Then switching to R. R has statistical computing environment. It is a free, means open source software, and therefore is not a black box. That means black box means inside what is happening we are unable to see. So this is called as white box. That means we will see transparently line by line what is happening in the R environment. It has a computer language which is convenient to use for statistical and graphical applications. So the commands can be saved, run, and stored in script files in R software. Then R is available almost in all platforms like Windows, Unix, Linux, and Macintosh, etc. So R was developed to compute with S+ language. Built-in contributed packages also available, and users are provided tools to make packages. It is possible to contribute even our own packages also. Then R is an interpreted computer language, means not a compiler. So when we use the command line interface, each command or expression to be evaluated is typed at the command prompt and immediately evaluated when the enter key is pressed at the end of a syntactically complete statement. So in our language, which looks like a command prompt, every command we have to type simply by using the key enter. You can get so what is the output, or if there any error, immediately displays instead of every time using the GUI commands. So there is one more advantage. Then how to download this software? In the registration link, this link is already provided. So I think everyone downloaded till now. So if anyone not downloaded, if you have laptop at present, immediately you can click on this link. Just it takes 2 to 3 minutes. So download and install R if you are using Windows or Apple or any other computers using the link www.rproject.org. So then it displays this home page. Here you can see one link is there to download R. So whenever you can click on this, then it shows various server mirrors. So you can select any mirror. Suppose by default Zero Cloud, click on this. Then it shows various versions. The current version is 4.01. So you can download any of version compatible with your system. Preferably, you can download 3.5 and above versions. So, okay, now after installation, now we will switch to our R environment. So here, whatever I am demonstrating, practically I will show the execution also. So now first we will see the first concept, the basics of R. So R can be treated as a calculator with our computer calculator, with our mobile calculator, whatever the basic operations we have to compute, all can be computed using R software. Then functions also, even some inbuilt functions we have. So using functions, we can compute all the operations. So now here, let us move to the basics of R command line interface. So this greater than symbol is the prompt sign in R software. So the assignment operators are the left arrow with dash and equal sign. So here two ways of assignment operators are there. So whenever if you want to assign a value to the variable, here you can use equal sign or left arrow with dash symbol. Anyone you can use. So for example, here you can see X, that is left arrow with dash 20. What is meaning of this? Assigns the value 20 to the variable X. Same thing you can represent our normal convention, that is equal. X equal to 20. Same assigns the value 20 to X. So initially only the left arrow with dash was available in R. Later the equal is also incorporated. So now suppose X equal to 20 assigns the value 20 to X. Then if you want to compute some operation on X, then that result can be stored into other variable. Let us say Y equal to X into 2. So assigns the value 2 into X to the variable Y. Then again the result of Y and X value, if you want to compute some other operation, let us say that can be stored in another variable Z. Z equal to X plus Y, which assigns the value X plus Y to Z. So like that, all these basic operations like a calculator we will perform using our R software. Now see whatever here we define, now I will demonstrate here. So then if you have R software readily installed, or if you click on the icon R where it is available on desktop or taskbar. So this is the R console window, command line interface. So here the prompt is greater than symbol. So here whatever you declared. So suppose first here we have taken X equal to, suppose X equal to 10 you can take. Now see, if you want to see whether the value 10 is stored in X or not, simply you can call the X, whatever the variable used, then simply you can enter. Now you will see the value 10 is stored into the variable X. Suppose if you want to compute another operation, suppose Y equal to, so now you are computing Y equal to some 2 into X. So already X contains 10, then that is multiplied with 2. So that can be stored into the variable Y. Now if you want to see the result, simply you can call Y. Now you can see Y, the result 20 is stored in Y. So again, if you want to compute other operation, for example, Z equal to, now I want to add X and Y. Simply you can take X, then with plus addition operator, then Y, then you can see the X plus Y is stored in Z now. To see the result, simply you can call Z, then enter. Now you can see X is 20, then Y is, X is 10, then Y is 20. Then by adding these two, 10 plus 20, 30, so that is stored in Z. So like that you can compute all basic operations. So like calculator, so how you are performing. So then you can see other important aspects. So R is also case sensitive like other programming languages. So capital and small letters are different. Suppose here you have used capital X equal to 20 and small x equal to 20. Both are different. So if you want, you can test it. Suppose here X equal to 20 stored with the lowercase letter, then but I called uppercase X. It shows the object X not found. So that's why R is case sensitive here. So whatever the variable you declared, but you can use either uppercase means you can use throughout uppercase letter only. If you use lowercase means throughout you can use lowercase letter only. But once you declared with uppercase, then used with lowercase, at that time it shows error that object is not found. So then here another important command in R, if you want to combine more than one value into a vector form, so we can use the command C. Simply C stands for combine. So using C within function brackets, all the values, either characters or numerical values, separated by comma. So whenever you can run this command, then what it displays a vector with the values of 1 to 5. For example, here you can see. So directly if you can give all the values separated with comma, it shows error. So why? Because multiple values it won't take in single variable, only one value it takes. So if you want to define multiple values, compressor we have to use the command coff followed by the values. Now let us try to run this one. So now here, now I am storing as per that command y equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. So now see here it is showing error. It won't take multiple values. So unexpected. So by default, actually, it reads only the first value, then showing others as error. So same thing, if you want to store multiple values in the form of vector, you can use the command C, that is lowercase letter c. C of within function bracket, you can use all the values separated with comma. So whatever the values you can store. Now you can see here it is not showing error. But if you want to see that vector, simply you can call the vector name, whatever you use. Now, why I use it, then enter. Now you can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So like that, you can store multiple values using the command C, which combines the numbers to a vector. So now, as part of R as calculator, so simply you can type the commands with a specific operator. Directly it produces the output there itself. For example, here 2, this is exponent symbol, 2 power 0.5. So which gives the value as one, output as 1.414 and so on. Then 2 double asterisk 0.5. Again, it gives power exponent value only. So alternative to exponent, you can use a double asterisk symbol also. Then even you can take with the negative values also, 2 power minus not 5. So which gives the value as. So like that, all basic calculations you can perform directly in the command line prompt by typing the values. Directly you will get the results. Now you can see, for example, 2 plus 3, 2 minus 3, 2 into 3, 2 power 3, then 2 double asterisk, again same. So whatever the commands, all you can run, so you will get the outputs. So let us try once. So you can take any values. So suppose here 2 plus 3, directly it gives 2, that is 5. Then 2 minus 3, which gives minus 1. Then 2 into 3, which gives 6. Then 2 by 3, so which gives. Then using the exponent operator, 2 power. So you can use the exponent operator. So 2 power 3, so that is 8. Same thing you can give using double asterisk, 2 double asterisk 3, which gives the same result. So like that you can compute all calculations as a calculator, so using our software. So then if you want to combine, if you want to perform a particular operation on multiple values, so till now only we are taking operands as single values, then a operator. So with multiple values, if you want to compute any arithmetic operations, so by using the command C of, you can take a vector. Suppose here C of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the vector consisting of 5 values. Then for all these 5 values, if you want to compute a particular operation, it may be addition, it may be a subtraction, it may be multiplication, it may be exponent, etc. So you can use C of the vector values. Then whatever the operation, suppose here power 2. So this command gives how it computes each and every value in the vector. So it applies the power 2 value. That means here you can see the output will be calculated like this. So the vector consisting of 1 to 5. Now power 2. So it takes like this: 1 power 2, comma 2 power 2, comma 3 power 2, comma 4 power 2, comma 5 power 2. Then the final result is displayed. 1 power 2, the value is 1. 2 power 2, the value is 4. 3 power 2, the value is 9. 4 power 2, the value is 16. 5 power 2, the value is 25. So like that, all operations can be performed with vector, with a basic calculator operations. Now let us try to run this one. Now I'm taking a vector C of with 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I am applying exponent operator. So I want to take power 2 of all these values. Now here you can see whatever we have demonstrated, that output 1 power 2, 2 power 2, 3 power 2, 4 power 2, 5 power 2, and so on. Same thing. So if you want to call back the previous executed command, you can use up arrow. Then the previous command will be displayed. Whatever changes, if you want to use backspace. Suppose I want to take plus operation. So I want to add all the vectors with plus 2. Now you can see 1 plus 2, 3, 2 plus 2, 4, 3 plus 2, 5, 4 plus 2, 6, 5 plus 2, 7. Like any operations you can apply here. So now I want to subtract with 2. So now 1 minus 2, 2 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 4 minus 2, 5 minus 2. So like any operation. So So again, if you want to multiply with a particular value, suppose I want to multiply with 2, all the vector values. 1 into 2, 2. 2 into 2, 4. 3 into 2, 6. 4 into 2, 8. 5 into 2, 10. So, and so on. So like that, with multiple values, also you can perform arithmetic operations like a calculator using C command. Then, if you want to perform some operations on multiple vectors, so previously with one vector, with a particular constant value, suppose two vectors are there. If you want to perform a particular operation, let us see this one. So here we have two vectors, C of 1, 2, 3, 4, then another vector, C of 2, 3. Now we have to take first vector power second vector. Here, one important observation you have to observe. So how this will be calculated? So first it takes the right hand side vector size, which consisting of two values. Now every time the left vector will be splitted into 2, then it performs the operation. Now you can see here C of 1, 2. Why? Because right side we have two values, size 2. So it takes first two values, that is C of 1, 2, power C of 2, 3. Now it performs like the first value in the first vector, power the first value in the second vector. So 1 power 2, then comma 2 power 3. So you will get 1, 8. Similarly, the second split, that is 3, 4. C of 3, 4, power C of 2, 3. So now it takes the first vector first value, power the second vector first value, that is 3 power 2, then 4 power 3. So these are all the values. Suppose in the right hand side, if we have odd size, so then it shows error. So with equal partition is possible, then only it takes the computation. Now let us run this command. So now the previous vector I am taking as it is. Now I am taking the power operation, like whatever operation if you want you can take. So power, now I am taking C of 2, 3, any value, but the size should be evenly with a combination of left side vector. Now here you can see. So here, whatever I mentioned, error. Why? Because left hand side we have 5 values, but here with the 2 combination, if you can split 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, 3, but 5 is left over. That's why it shows error. So to overcome this, so left hand side you can take only 4 values. Now you can see. So now it takes 1, 2, 2, 3 combination. That means 1 power 2, 2 power 3. Then 3, 4, 2, 3 combination. 3 power 2, 4 power 3. Now this is the result. So carefully you have to observe whenever you are using two vectors and performing any operations. So the size should match it with the partition. Okay, now these are all the some of the basics of R as calculator. Now move to functions. So R consisting of many built-in functions. So the following table shows various functions. The commands, whatever the commands here mentioned, same commands needs to be used. So to find a maximum value among a set, simply you can use MAX within function bracket. So there you can mention the data set or values. Then to find minimum value, you can use MIN. To find sum, you can use the command SUM. To find product, you can use PROD. To find absolute value, that is mod, you can use ABS. To find square root, you can use SQRT. To find exponential function, simply use EXP. Then rounding up and down values, you can use round function, floor, then ceiling. To find logarithmic values, you can use log, then log 10, log 2 with specific basis. To find trigonometric functions, you can use sine, sin, cos, tan, a sine, a cos, a tan. Then hyperbolic functions also, sin h, cos h, tan h, a sin h, a cos h, and so on. So any of these functions with these commands within the function, you can provide the input, then you can get the required results. Now let us see examples of these. So to find maximum, so MAX, so within the function bracket, you can mention any values, numerical values. Suppose here I am taking floating point values 1.2, 3.4, minus 7.2. Among these three, the maximum value is 3.4. So it gives 3.4. So same you can use instead of direct max function with all the values, using the C command also, like a vector. So you can take a vector using C of. So now among these values in vector, it produces the maximum value, the same output. So maximum of C of 1.2, 3.4, minus 7.8. So then what is the maximum value? It gives 3.4. Similarly, minimum value, same. So max is replaced with min. So minimum of the same values here. The minimum value is negative value is the least value. So minus 7.5. Same you can use using C of, that is by creating the vector min of C of. So which gives the same result. Then square root, directly you can use sqrt of 4. So square root of 4, it gives 2. So if you want to find square root for multiple values, you can use vector. So square root of C of suppose 4, 9, 16, 25. It gives the result as 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Then sum, simply you can use sum using the vector. So sum C of all the values. Even directly also you can use sum of the integer values. Then product you can use PROD. Even with vector or without vector also, both will work here. Then round value. So round value you can give round of a floating point value, for example 1.23. So which gives the least value 1. So if it is less than 0.5, so then round of 1.83. So let us say it gives the highest value. Then similarly, flooring and ceiling. So floor of 1.23, so which gives the least value only, irrespective of whatever the values. Then ceiling means irrespective of after point, whatever the value, it gives the highest value. Ceiling of 1.23, 2. Ceiling of 1.83, 2. So, okay, let us try to execute some of the examples here. Suppose first you want to find maximum value. So you can use the function max. So suppose in R, if you want to clear the console, whatever we have executed previously, in the edit menu, here you can see clear console is there. Now the screen will be cleaned. Now again freshly you will start. So if you want to copy all these commands, you can select all and paste somewhere wherever you want to for future purpose. So now I want to find maximum of so some values 1, 4, 7, 9. Let us say. Now you can see 1, 4, 7. The maximum value is 9. Same you can apply using vector format using C of. So you can close properly with respective braces. Now you can see using vector format. Similarly, you can use minimum value also. Simply you can use min. So minimum of 1479, the answer is 1. Then even you can use using vector representation. So C of. Now you can see any function you can use square root of a particular value if you want. So square root of 4, 2. Then sum of, suppose you want to add sum of 1, 2, 3. So then if you want to find product of same 1, 2, 3, that means 1 into 2 into 3. So like that, anything you can compute using the built-in functions. Suppose if you want to find a sine of a particular value, then cos of a particular value, then logarithmic of a particular value. Like all functions, simply you can type the command and you can give the integer value. Then it produces the respective output. Okay, now we'll move to other important concept, matrices and matrix operations. Using R software, how to create a matrix and how to perform various operations on matrix. So the syntax for creating a matrix in R software using the command matrix. So within function bracket, the arguments are first data equal to. So here we have given NA. That means in place of NA, you can give whatever the data if you want. Then you can mention the dimension of the matrix also, that is number of rows and number of columns by using end row. n row equal to means number of rows. You can mention the dimensionality. Suppose here I am taking, for example, default number of rows are 1, then n column, number of columns are 1. Then if you want to display the matrix accordingly row wise or column wise. So if you want to display row wise, here no need to mention by row equal to false. So if you want to display column wise only, you have to mention by row equal to false. So default it displays with default manner. So here data is an optional data vector, n row which is called as number of rows, n column which is called as number of columns, by row which is a logical which consisting of true or false. So if false means the default, the matrix is filled with columns, otherwise the matrix is filled with rows. Now let us see if you want to create in R 4x2 matrix, X can be created with the following command. So you can store the matrix in the vector X. So X equal to matrix of, here I am defining n row equal to 4, that is 4 rows, comma n column equal to 2, so columns equal to 2, comma data. Here you can provide whatever the data if you want to fill in the matrix. So data equal to using the command C, or because multiple values from the vector C of, here I am taking 1 to 8 as the data. Now that 1 to 8 can be arranged with 4 rows and 2 columns. So by default matrix is filled with columns. Here we didn't use it by row. So default it displays columns. So here how many columns are there? 2 columns with the 4 rows combination. See 2 columns means first column it takes the first 4 values according to 4 rows. So now in the order 1, 2, 3, 4, see 1, 2, 3, 4 in first column. Then second column remaining 4 values, that is 5, 6, 7, 8. So by default it displays column wise. Now we will also create this matrix. Let us see. So now I am creating the matrix and storing in the vector X, X equal to matrix, matrix of. So here you can view the number of rows and columns. So n row equal to 4, then n column equal to 2, then data equal to C of. So here 1 to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now you can see. Now whenever you can press enter key, if the prompt occurred means no error is there. If any error means it shows the error message. So now here the matrix is created. Now if you want to see, simply call X. Now you can see by default the matrix is filled according to columns. So column 1 consisting of the first 4 values 1, 2, 3, 4. Then second column other 4 values 5, 6, 7, 8. Suppose if you want to create a matrix according to row. So after the data here you can use by row equal to, you can use 2 values only, either true or false. All are uppercase you can use, even capital T also you can use, or capital T or U. So now you can see, now you can call X here. So now you can compare the previous matrix and this matrix. Here you have given by row equal to true, means it displays now row wise. So first row it fills the first 2 values. Why? Because 2 columns are there. So the first 2 values are 1, 2. So 1, 2 in first row, then 3, 4 in second row, then 5, 6 in third row, then 7, 8 in fourth row. So if you want to create a matrix and fill the data by row order, you can use by row equal to true. So by default, without using by row, so directly it displays column wise. So again, if you want to display column wise, if you want, you can remove this one, or you can use false. Now you can call the vector X. Now you can see again our original matrix what we created. So first column 1, 2, 3, 4, second column 5, 6, 7, 8. So like that we can create matrix as per our convenient, whether if you want row wise or column wise, using this matrix command. So now if you want to perform some operations before that, so if you want to find a particular value from the matrix with a particular row, particular column combination, so one can access a single element of a matrix with the following command. So using the matrix name within square bracket, you can mention the index or position of row and column. So I is the address or position of the row, comma j is the address or position of the column. So in our matrix X, suppose if you can mention X of 3 comma 2, so that means the first value is row, the second value is column. That means third row, second column, whatever the value, that value is displayed here. So single element you can access using the vector indexing format. So let us see, suppose X equal to whatever the matrix we created. So now here X of 3 comma 2. So third row, here you can see third row, then second column. Here what is the second column? This one. So 7. 7 is displayed. Then X of 1 comma 1. First row, first column. First row, first column. 1. Like that, you can display a particular element from the matrix. We will also try here. Now we have X here. Now X with square bracket. Now I want 1 comma 1. That means first row, first column. Now you can see what is this value 1. Now first row, second column if you want. So X of 1 comma 2. So what is this value? 1 and 2 equal to 5. Suppose I want to display 4 by 2. So now let us see here 4 by 2. That means fourth row, second column. So what we have, fourth row, second column 8. So now it displays. So like that you can display or you can access a particular value based on the index of rows and columns. So using the square brackets. So now let us see some properties of a matrix. Suppose after creating a matrix, if you want to see how many rows are there, how many columns are there, then what is the dimensionality of the matrix. So all we can find here. So here, first by using the command dim within function brackets, give the matrix name, tells the dimension of a matrix. Here, what dimension? The matrix consisting of 4 by 2. So 4 rows, 2 columns. Whenever you can run this command dim of x, it gives 4, 2. Then if you want to display number of rows, simply use n row within function bracket, the matrix name tells the number of rows. Then n column, COL, n COL within function bracket matrix name gives the number of columns. Then to find the mode of the matrix, that means its type, what type of data it contains. So using MODE within function bracket, the matrix name informs the type or storage, mode of an object. For example, it is a numerical matrix or logical matrix, etc. So here previously, whatever the matrix we created, which consisting of all numerical values. So it gives type as numeric. Then again, one more command, attributes. So provides all the attributes of that object. For example, you can run this one, attributes of x, which gives the dimensional function. So $dim 4 comma 2. So this will be the output. Now we will also try this one. Now let us call your matrix again. Now x is the matrix. Now if you want to find dimensionality of x, simply you can use dim of x. So 4 by 2, 4 rows, 2 columns. Then if you want to find number of rows in your matrix, n row of x. So total how many rows are there? 4 rows. Then if you want to find a number of columns in the matrix, n COL of x, how many columns are there? 2 columns are there. Then if you want to find mode of the matrix, what type of data it contains a numerical data. Then if you want to find attributes, so attributes means again it gives the value same as in dimensionality. So $dim. So what dimensionality? 4 by 2. So like that, these are all the various properties of a matrix. Now we'll move to matrix operations. So now first, if you want to construct a diagonal matrix, so by taking identity matrix with the dimension 2, let us say, so that can be stored in the vector name d equal to, so you can use for diagonal matrix the command diag. So then by default all values are filled with diagonal values are filled with digit 1. So you can mention 1 at the first position, comma, then you can mention the dimensionality, number of rows equal to 2, comma, number of columns equal to 2. So whenever you can run this command, identity matrix is printed. Now you can see the output here. The first diagonal element is 1, then second diagonal element is 1, remaining filled with default zeros. So this is the command for creating a diagonal matrix. Let us try this one. So first clear this console. Now diagonal matrix I am storing in D. So D equal to DIAG. I am taking the identity matrix. So value as 1. Then n row. So I am taking a 2 by 2 matrix, n row equal to 2. Then n column equal to 2. Now you can call D here. See, this is the diagonal matrix. So this is one operation. Then if you want to find transpose of a matrix, suppose earlier whatever the matrix we created, suppose x equal to matrix, n row equal to 4, n column equal to 2. So here data, suppose sometimes instead of vector, you can take the starting value and the end value by using the range colon operation. Data equal to 1:8. It takes 1 to 8. So here by row equal to true. That means it displays row wise matrix. So let us create this matrix. So now I am taking x equal to matrix of, so here 4 by 2 dimensionality, n row equal to 4, n column equal to 2. Now data I am taking with ratio combination 1:8. Then by row equal to true. Now you can call x here. Now you can see. So now it displays row wise. Why? Because we mentioned by row equal to true. Now if you want to find transpose of a matrix, so for that we can use the command T. Simply T of the matrix name. Then directly displays the transpose. The result is stored in some vector name or directly also it displays. Now if you want to find transpose of a matrix, the lowercase letter t of x. Now you can see. So 4 by 2 becomes now 2 by 4. The transpose of the matrix operation. So if you want to store this value in another variable, let us say y. So y equal to, now I am storing a transpose matrix in y. Now you can call y here. Why? Because further if you want to perform other operations with this, now you can see this is the transpose of a matrix. So now if you want to perform multiplication operation, it's very important. So this is the symbol used in R software to perform multiplication of two matrices. The symbol is percentage asterisk percentage. So between the two matrices vectors, you can use this symbol. Then it computes the multiplication operator. Whenever you have to perform multiplication operator, so it has to satisfy the dimensionality. First matrix m by n, second matrix n by p. So first matrix number of columns is equal to second matrix number of rows. Then only multiplication operation is possible. Suppose here we created one matrix X, then we created one diagonal matrix Tx. Suppose if you want to multiply these two, let us see. So X percentage asterisk percentage Tx. Now there is the multiplication operator. So now here also we already created a diagonal matrix that is stored in D. First you can call X here. So the X matrix, what it contains. So 4 by 2. Then the diagonal matrix, what it contains, 2 by 2. So 4 by 2, 2 by 2. So in first matrix, number of columns is same as in the second matrix, number of rows. So it satisfies the condition. Now if you want to multiply these two, X, use the symbol percentage asterisk percentage, now D. Now you can see this is the result. If dimensionality it won't satisfy, then it shows error. So using this operator, we can perform multiplication operation. Then cross product. So simply by using the command CROSS a particular matrix multiplied with that same matrix itself, we can use the command cross product. For example, here we have X. Now use CROSS within function bracket the matrix name, which one if you want to perform cross product. Now this is the result of cross product operation. Then Inverse of a matrix. How to find inverse of a matrix? By use the command solve. Solve finds the inverse of a positive definite matrix. Suppose a matrix y equal to matrix of with 2 by 2 by row, data equal to these values are given 84, 100, 100, 120, whatever. So then if you want to find inverse, simply you can use solve of y. Or any matrix you can take. Let us take X is the matrix. Simply you can use solve of y. Not y here, we used X. So here it is showing error. See, the matrix must be 4 by 2, a square matrix. Here we mentioned a positive definite matrix. So 2 by 2 only. Square matrix you can take 2 by 2 like that. So suppose you can take the matrix as y equal to matrix of, create a square matrix. So here n row equal to 2, n column equal to 2, then data equal to C of, for example, same we can take, so 84, 100, 100, then 120. Let us take any values you can take, no problem. Now you can see y is created. Now you can find inverse using the command solve of y. Now you can see. So whenever you are performing matrix operations, the prerequisite conditions needs to be satisfied. So that is the way of finding inverse of a matrix. Now the last concept in matrix, so how to find eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So in R also this is possible by using the command eigen, which finds the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of a positive definite matrix here also. So earlier, whatever the matrix you created with a 2 by 2 square matrix with a particular data, so now simply you can use the command so eigen within function bracket the matrix name, which gives both eigen decomposition and vector values. So now you can recall once y. Now apply eigen of y, so which gives both eigenvalues and eigenvector. This is an important function. So in matrix concept to find eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So now let us move to our next concept. So data frames, actually the importance of are in statistical functions. So to handle data for data analysis. So this is one of important concept which is called as data frame. So data frames are special type of R object in which we can store the data, we can call the data, and we can do different types of mathematical manipulations over that data set. So whatever operations we can do on a spreadsheet, so how to get them in our software. That is the objective of this lecture. Everyone aware what is a spreadsheet is a computer application for organization, analysis and storage of data in tabular format. So then here we will see how to create a data frame, then how to perform some of the operations on the data. So the command C, till now we discussed C. Other than C, we have C bind also, vector and matrix functions combine the data. Matrix also we discussed. So another option is called as data frame. In a data frame, we can combine variables of equal length with each row in the data frame containing observations on the same unit. Hence, it is similar to the matrix or C-bind functions. So data frames contain complete data sets that are mostly created with other programs like spreadsheet files, then some other softwares like SPSS, which is called as statistical product and service solutions, then Excel files, etc. Variables in data frame may be numeric or categorical, characters or factors. So now let us see in our software, we have some inbuilt libraries or packages. With that also, we can see the inbuilt data frames. A package popularly used for this data frames, which is called as MASS, describes functions and data sets to support variables and replay. So which was published in the book Modern Applied Statistics with S. 4000 in 2002. So the package name itself is called as MASS, taken from this. So in this package, some inbuilt data sets are available. An example data frame called as painters is available in the library MAS. Here only an excerpt of a data set. So to access this data set, what you have to do? First, you have to call the library by using the function library within function bracket name of the library without using any quotations. So here all are uppercase letters in MASS. You have to use same. So you can call this library within function bracket MASS. Now you can call the data frame name is painters. It is plural. Use same name. So then it displays what it contains, how many rows, how many columns, and what are the values. Now we will also try this one. So first you have to call the package also using the library function within function bracket. The package is MASS. Now you can see the library is called or activated now. Now we are talking about one data frame, inbuilt data frame, which is called as painters. So simply you can call painters. Now you can see the complete data is displayed, so which is available. Now here you can see. So it displays, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Then different rows are there. Then particular values are there. Composition, drawing, color, expression, all are numerical. Then school is factor. That means character value. So how many observations are there at the end? It displays the number of observations also. So here you can see at the end, here you will find. So bottom, let us see here. So to display number of observations in this, there are some particular commands are there. Now you can see these are all the complete values related to painters data set. Now if you want to work out some of the operations on this existing data frame, so here we have some functionalities. Now see, this is the output what we have seen here. So if you want to display number of rows or row names, so you can use the command row names within function bracket the data frame name painters. Now it displays all the row values only. Let us try this one. So row names in function bracket, what is the data frame name? Painters. Now you can see it displays all the row names. Then similarly, if you want to display whether a particular attribute type, is it numeric or not, by using the command is.numeric within function bracket. So by using the dollar symbol, first use the data frame name, dollar a particular attribute name. Now painters is the data frame name, school is one of the attribute of this painters data set. So now is.numeric within function bracket painters dollar school. Is it numeric means it displays true or false, just logical value. Now here you can see the school is a factor value, it is not a numerical value, so it displays false. Similarly, you can take other attributes, suppose is.numeric within function bracket painters dollar drawing. You can see drawing consisting of numerical value, so which gives true. So we'll also test this one. Is.numeric within function bracket the data frame name painters using the dollar symbol. Now the attribute names, column names, you can give all are starting with capital letter. For example, school, capital S, remaining all are lowercase letter. Now here you can see. So it is false. Why? Because the school attribute consisting of character values, factor values. Suppose under you can take color. So color consisting of numerical values. So then it gives result as true. So color, capital C, COLOUR. Now you can see this is true, which consisting of numerical values. So like that, you can check whether what kind of data you are handling. It is numerical or character value. Then if you want to display column names also, Row names, the command is row names. Similarly, column names, COL names of that data frame name. Then it displays total columns, COL NAMES, names of the data frame, painters. Now you can see total we have composition, drawing, color, expression, school. Total 5 columns are there. So 5 columns are displayed here. So now, so this we already, even the entire data frame, whatever the data frame we are working, is it data frame or not? If you want to test if we are dealing with a data frame, use the command is.data.frame. So is dot is common, is dot numeric. Then the data frame can be denoted as data.frame here. So is.data.frame, the data frame name painters. So if it is a data frame, it displays true, otherwise it displays false. So now we'll also try this one. Is dot, the data frame can be defined as the command data.frame. And within brackets, the data of set name, so painters. So we are dealing with the data frame. So it gives true if it is true. Now, how to create our own data frame? Till now, we discussed about already existing data frame. So if you want to create our own data frame also, we can use the command data.frame. Use the data.frame function to create a data frame by adding column vectors to the data frame, only column vectors. So for example, let us create a vector x equal to 1 to 16. So now a vector x with 16 numerical values, then another vector y, a matrix with 4 by 4 dimensionality. So here we have taken x. See here x, whatever the values 1 to 16. So those values will be taken here. Why? Because in place of data we used x. The above vector will be called here. Then the matrix is created by default column matrix with 4 by 4. Now another matrix we are creating letters. So all the lowercase alphabets using all lowercase letters LETTERS within square bracket, the range you can mention. If you want all, you can use the default total, or if you want a specific, suppose I want 16, 1 to 16. Now Z. So now here we created a matrix X, we created a matrix Y, then we created a matrix Z. By using these three, if you want to create a data frame, here the command you can see. That result is stored in the vector data frame, something you can call, no problem, equal to data.frame within function bracket, call all the vectors in the order, whatever the order if you want. So X is the first vector which consisting of 1 to 16, then Y consisting of a matrix with 4 by 4 dimensionality, then Z is a vector consisting of 16 letters. So first you can see the X values 1 to 6 with column wise it stores. Now here you can see here first column 1 to 6 values with 16 rows. Then second one matrix, it split into 4 combinations. The same matrix is repeated. Why? Because its dimensionality is 4. Now you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, then 13 to 16. This is the matrix 4 by 4. That can be repeated how many times? 4 times. Why? Because the total column size is 16. Then the vector A2, here what we have taken, the letters A to P. So A to P can be accommodated in that particular column. Here 16 letters are there we have taken. So like that a data frame is created. Now we'll also try this one. So create our own data frame. So here I have copied the comments for saving time. So directly I will run these comments. So you will also practice all this whatever we are executing. Yeah, now here you can see. Now I am creating a vector x equal to 1 to 16. Yeah. You can copy. Simply you can paste the command. Now x is created. Simply you can call x equal to 1 to 16. Then another one, you are creating a matrix with 4 by 4 using x vector. Now you can call y. Now see, the matrix Y is created. Now you are creating another vector with letters which can be stored in Z. Now you can call Z. It contains 1 to 16 letters. Now create the data frame which can be stored in the vector, whatever the vector name, no problem. Now you can call a data frame DA what we used FR. Now you can see. So whatever we executed, so that is shown here. So a data frame is created. Previously we worked with already existing data frame by using some packages. Here we created our own data frame. Now the data frame is stored on data FR vector. So you can perform whatever the operations using this vector name further. So now if you want to display structure of the data in any database, so even our database also SQL or MySQL. So if you want to display description of the data, which shows how many rows, how many columns, and what type of attributes, like in R also it is possible. Display information about the structure of the data frame. Simply you can use the command str. Str nothing but structure. The result of str gives the dimension as well as the name and type of each and every variable in the data frame. Simply you can use the command. Suppose here painter we used earlier. So str of painters you can use, which displays a total how many observations means how many records, then how many variables, and each variable type also displayed. So now you can recall once our painters data frame. So now you can use simply str of painters. Now it displays so all the observations. The data frame painters consisting of total 54 observations with 5 variables, nothing but 5 columns. Then composition is type of integer. These values are so and so. Drawing is also integer. Color is also integer. Then expression is also integers. But school is the factor which consisting of the levels 8 with A, B, C, D combination. So similarly, we created our own data frame. Use data FR. Now we can see. So our own data frame also, which consisting of 16 records total with the 6 variables, each variable type and factors also displayed here. Now structure of the data frame. Then extract a variable from the data frame using dollar symbol. So this dollar symbol we already used in the within the database name. So if you want to display a particular attribute values, so you can use database name or data frame name dollar the attribute name. Suppose if you want to display schools from the data set painters, use the data frame name painters dollar school. Now it displays all the school names. Now let us try this one. So here painters using the dollar symbol, whatever the attribute if you want to display school. Now you can see. So all the attribute values school are displayed. Suppose if you want to display drawing attribute values, so painters dollar drawing DRAWING D capital. Now you can see all the drawing attribute values are displayed here. So like in our SQL command select command, if you want to select a particular attribute or column, so in R directly database name dollar the attribute name, it displays the particular values. So then another important function in R, summary of observations. So in R, quartiles, minimum value, maximum value can be easily obtained by using the summary function. So summary within function bracket, the data vector name, it gives information on what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value, what is the first quartile, what is the second quartile, also called as median, and third quartile. So in statistical, this is very important. So every time you have to find these values. Simply by using summary command, directly you can find all these values. So for example, our painter data frame, to apply summary function for a categorical variable, returns detailed frequency table. So for example, summary of painters dollar school, only we have taken attribute school from the painters data frame. Then school attribute name wise, it displays the frequency count. So here A, how many times A is repeated? 10 times. How many times B is repeated? 6 times, and so on. H out of the 50 observations if you want to know how many A's, how many B's, and so on, how many H. So simply you can use this command. So let us run this one. So summary within function bracket, the data frame name, painters, then dollar, suppose here school. Now you can see the school names, unique names it takes. H names are there. Then each name, how many times it occurred, that is frequency count. So, but the entire data frame summary, if you want to find the minimum value, maximum value, quartile value, simply you can use summary within function brackets, the data frame name painters. Now you can see it gives attribute wise composition, drawing, color, expression, school. What is the minimum value for each attribute? Minimum value is the first row. Then second one is the first quartile value for all attributes. Then median value, then mean value, then third quartile value, then maximum value. So from any database, directly using this summary command, we can find all these observations, summary of painters, what we have executed there. Okay, now we'll move to our next concept, statistical functions. So very important. So here first we'll see some introduction, some frequencies and partition value concepts. So primary tools which gives first-hand information. First, central tendency of data, variation in data, structure and shape of data tendency, relationship study, as well as graphical as well as analytical tools are used. So these are all some of the tools for descriptive statistics. Graphical tools also there. Graphical tools, various types of plots, 2D, 3D plots are there, scatter diagram is there, pie diagram is there, histogram is there, bar plot is there, stem and leaf plot, box plot. We will demonstrate some of these plots with examples also. Then first we will see some theoretical concepts related to absolute and relative frequencies. Suppose there are 10 persons coded into two categories with the male-female category. So male is coded with M, female is coded with F. Then these can be encoded. So let us say A1 and A2 to refer male and female categories. Suppose there are 7 male, 3 female persons denoted. N1 is 7 and N2 is 3, the number of observations. The number of observations in a particular category is called as absolute frequency. Absolute frequency is nothing but number of observations in a particular category. Suppose N1 category, the number of observations are 7. N2 category, the number of observations are 3. These are all absolute frequencies of N1 and N2. So then relative frequencies of A1 and A2 are calculated by using the formulas. For category A1 and A2, the relative frequencies are calculated by F1 equal to N1 by N1 plus N2. So this is for N1. For N2 also, F2 equal to N2 by N1 plus N2. So here you will get the relative frequencies. So this gives us information about the proportions of male-female persons. So same thing, these can be, we can use in R using the respective commands. So here, absolute and relative frequencies are calculated in R using the command table of variable, which creates the absolute frequency of the variable. Suppose here, table of whatever the vector you are creating, it may be N1 or N2. Then suppose enter data as X. Here the absolute frequency is calculated by table of X. Then relative frequency is calculated by finding the length of X. So then the table of X is divided by length of X. So table of X divide length of X, which gives relative frequencies. So theoretically using these formulas and by counting, then in R simply by using table and table by length, you can find absolute and relative frequencies. So let us demonstrate one example. Suppose here code the 10% by using say 1 for male, 2 for female. So here wherever male is there, you can code it as 1. Wherever female is there, you can code it as 2. So this is one data vector. So now create the data vector and stored in the vector gender. Gender equal to C of so and so, the 10 observations. Now to see the vector, simply you can use gender. All the 10 observations will be displayed. Now you can find out absolute frequency using the command table of gender. Here we have two unique codes are there, 1 and 2. So how many times 1 is repeated, how many times 2 is repeated? 1 is repeated 7 times, 2 is repeated 3 times. So it displays the frequency count of 1 and 2. So that is absolute frequency. Then relative frequency, directly you can take table of gender by length of gender. So if you want to check length of gender, also use the command length within function bracket the vector name gender. So 10, the total length. How many observations are there means 10. Then by applying this command table of gender by length of gender, which gives the relative frequency. Theoretically also, as for the formula, you can calculate. So now we will also try to execute this. So now first create a vector which is called as gender. So gender equal to 10 observations, whatever. Any data you can take. With your own data also you can practice. Now call gender. So now you can see, now if you want to find absolute frequency, table of gender simply. So here 1 how many times repeated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then 2 how many times repeated? 3 times. Then if you want to find relative frequency, if you want to find separately length also, length, the command length of gender. So total length means it won't add the sum of all this. It counts the number of observations. So 10 are there. So now relative frequency is calculated by using table of gender by length of gender. So here given wrongly. So the command is table of gender by length of gender. Here we have given length. So length of gender, which gives the relative frequency of the data gender. So like that we will calculate absolute and relative frequencies. Then coming to partition values. Such values divides the total frequency given data into required number of partitions. So by default here we have quartile divides the data into 4 equal parts. Decile divides the data into 10 equal parts. Percentile divides the data into 100 equal parts. Then quantile is another function, computes quantiles corresponding to the given probabilities. The smallest observation corresponds to probability of 0 and the largest to the corresponding probability of 1. The probability lies between 0 to 1 only. Even your own ranges also you can give. For example, the syntax for quantile. Quantile of the data name x, comma, with some other arguments. So quantile of x, comma, suppose if you want to define your own probabilities, probs equal to sequence by using sequence command, sequence of 0, 1, 0.2 and so on. So in between 0 to 1, what are the probabilities if you want? Yet the argument x means numeric vector whose sample quantiles were wanted. Then probabilities, numeric vector of probabilities within the range 0 to 1. For example, create a vector with the name marks with 15 students. So here I am storing all the 15 student marks in the vector marks. C of all marks are given here at the total marks in a particular subject or percentage, whatever. So if you want to apply quantile, by default quantile of marks. So by default distribution is 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. Even with our customized distribution also you can give using probs command. First run this command. So first you can create this matrix marks. So here marks equal to 68, 82 and so on is created. Now you can call that matrix to see the data. So now you can apply quantile, quantile. Quantile of the vector name is simply marks. Now you can see. So default the first partition 0, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. The distributed with these partitions. Then with our own also is possible. Here you can see the probabilities. Quantile of marks come up PROB equal to C of. So here 0, then 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1. So now it gives 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. But previously here you can see, previously also here we have default also, here you will get like this. Even by giving probabilities, other than this, if you want other probabilities also you can give. If you want 20, if you want 30, if you want 20.2, if you want 30.3, if you want 90.9. So like that also you can give. Now here you can see the quantile of marks probability equal to, these are all our own probabilities other than the standard. So now that can be partitioned among these composition. So all are lies in between 0 to 1 only. Suppose let us check this one. So marks and PROB equal to C of. So now you can give like this. Suppose I want 0, next 0 0.2, 0 0.3, then 0 0.8, then 0 0.9, then 1. Let us say like this you can give. Now you can see. Whatever the probabilities you can give, that can be decomposed into that number of partitions. Here 0, 20, 30, 80, 90, 100. So like that partition will be done. So then coming to the second part of statistical functions, graphics and plots. Here we'll demonstrate some graphical tools. First we will see bar plots. So visualize the relative or absolute frequencies of observed values of a variable. For that, bar plots are used. It consists of one bar for each category. The height of each bar is determined by either absolute frequency or the relative frequency of the respective category and is shown on the y-axis. So the syntax for bar plots is bar plot without space, within function bracket the arguments first x comma width equal to, you can specify your width by default 1 comma space equal to by default null, etc. Suppose here we created a vector x with some numerical data. Suppose if you can use for absolute frequency, if you want to display the bar plot, the command is bar plot within function bracket. The absolute frequency command is table of x. Similarly for relative frequency, bar plot of table of x by length of x. So like that for absolute and relative frequencies, we can represent bar plots. For example, same data set what we created, the 10 observations, male female combination, the gender vector you can take. Now you can apply the bar plot of this gender vector. Simply you can use bar plot of gender. Now this is the bar plot for each category. So the bar is created. So now for absolute frequency, use table of gender. Then you can apply bar plot of table of gender. Now this is the bar plot. Then why? Because it has only 1 and 2 categories. So then relative frequency also. So table of gender by length of gender. For that also bar plot of table of gender by length of gender. Now we will also demonstrate this one. Now let us call the gender vector. So here what we created. So this is the gender vector. Now we are creating bar plot of without frequency simply for gender. Now here you can see. So here this is not absolute or relative frequency, only for the vector gender we used bar plot command. So this is the output. So in our one advantage, this graphical output, any output we can print, we can save as image also for our references. This is one advantage. So now similarly for absolute frequency, so that is table of gender. So you will get absolute frequency. Now you can apply bar plot for this absolute frequency, bar plot of table of gender. Now you can see. So the absolute frequency consisting of 2 categories, 1 and 2. Now this is the respective bar plot for the absolute frequency. Then similarly for relative frequency, so here the formula is table of gender divided by length of LENGTH. So length of gender. Now you can see for every frequencies, the shape of the bar chart is changing, you can observe. So this is the bar plot for relative frequency. So like that, we can graphically, we can represent the absolute and relative frequencies and normal numerical data using bar plot. Then another one, pie diagram. So pie charts visualize the absolute and relative frequencies here also. A pie chart is a circular partition into segment where each of the segments represents the category. The size of each segment depends upon the relative frequency and is determined by the angle, frequency into 360 degrees. So now the command for pie diagram or pie chart using PIE within function bracket, the arguments x comma labels equal to names of x. Here labels also you can provide with your own. For example, call the gender vector gender equal to so and so. Then simply you can use the command pie of gender. So then you will get this is the pie chart for gender vector. Even for absolute frequency, you can represent pie diagram, pie of table of gender. This is the pie chart for absolute frequency. Then for relative frequency also. Same. Now let us run this one. Now you can call gender vector. Simply you can use pie command, PIE of gender, the vector. So now you can see this is the pie chart for the vector gender. Then for relative frequency also, so pi of table of gender. So table of gender. Even for this is absolute frequency. This is the pie chart. Even for relative frequency also, relative frequency, what you have to do, table of gender by length of gender. Now see, this is the pie chart for relative frequency. Then coming to our next graphical tool, histogram. Histogram is based on the idea to categorize the data into different groups and plot the bars for each category with the height. So bar plot and histogram both are different, don't confuse. The area of the bars equal to height into width is proportional to the relative frequency. So the widths of the bars need not necessarily to be the same. For this, the command is simply hist, H-I-S-T. Within function bracket, give the vector name. Hist of x shows absolute frequencies. Frequency equal to, suppose if we want make it as false, so which shows the relative frequencies. Then if you want to find help about any command in R, you can use the command HELP within function bracket within double quote that command name as it is, what for the predefined command. Then it goes to HTML version of help. There you can see more details about any command. So then let us see the gender vector. You can apply histogram for the gender, HAST of gender. Now you can see this is the histogram of gender. Similarly for absolute frequency, HAST of table of gender. Similarly, if by making frequency as F, so the respective histogram is displayed. Now we will also run this one. Simply HIST of gender, this vector we already created. Now you can see this is the histogram of the vector gender. Then similarly for absolute frequency, so you can use here we already used for pi. Now you can replace pi by histogram, HIST. So this is the histogram for absolute frequency. Then for relative frequency also, so here pi we use the relative frequency. We can replace pi by hist, HIST. Now you can see. So for every absolute relative, you can see the changes in the graph. Based on this graphical, further you can do analysis. Then coming to third part of statistical functions, central tendency and variation. Here again we will see some statistical measures like earlier what we discussed in part 1 of statistical functions. So here the primary tools which gives first-hand information related to central tendency of data. Here mean, median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean, etc. all comes under central tendency of data. Then variation in data, variance, standard deviation, standard error, mean deviation, etc. These are all the measures related to variation in data. These are all the measures related to central tendency of the data. Some of them here in R, how to find all these, we'll discuss in this concept. So
Sir,
now,
Mono sir, 1 second, sir. Sir, this is Sitaram Babu, sir, from ITE.
Sir.
Approximately how much time would you take to finish this up, sir?
So maximum at 1 o'clock we will wind up, sir. Next only one session.
Okay,
Even
sir.
12 for maybe before that also, sir.
Before that, we'll do that, sir. We can go for one more session, sir.
No, sir. Now this takes hardly 10 minutes. Remaining mission 10 to 15, sir. No problem.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Nice, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, theoretically, you can see these methods. Central tendency of data gives an idea about the mean value of the data. Data is calculated around what value? For example, data, let us say x1, x2, and so on, x3. So, let us say x as the data vector. Theoretically, mathematically, arithmetic mean formula is this one. X bar equal to 1 by n, sigma I equal to 1 to n, xi. Syntax in R, simply we will use the command mean, MEN within function bracket, the data vector name x. Similarly, geometric mean, so this is the formula mathematically. So syntax in R, we can use PROD, product of x power 1 by length of x. This is the formula for calculating geometric mean in R. So here length of x is equal to the number of elements in x. This length we already seen in relative frequency calculation. So now harmonic mean, this is the formula mathematically in syntax in R, simply 1 by mean of 1 by x. This is the formula for calculating harmonic mean. Then median. So median syntax in R, simply you can use the command median of the data vector x. Then let us demonstrate one example. Here we already created the matrix for marks. Take same matrix here. Now you can apply all these measures. So mean of marks, which gives arithmetic mean. Then geometric mean, product of marks power 1 by length of marks. This is the geometric mean. Then harmonic mean 1 by mean of 1 by marks. This is the geometric mean value. Then median value, simply median of marks. So now let us execute all this. So the marks matrix already there. Simply you can call marks. So now whatever the measures here we want to calculate, simply you can type the comments. The first one is simply here mean of x, which gives arithmetic mean value. So mean of x. Then product of, this is another measure, product of marks power 1 by length of marks. So then another one, so 1 by mean of 1 by marks, this is the other measure. Then simply median, you can use the formula, simply median. So using these formulas directly, you can measure all these statistical measures on any data, numerical data, even with our own data also. Suppose here you can observe some important points. If you can take mean of all the values directly, it shows error, showing invalid use argument. By default, it takes only the first value. So multiple values can be combined using the command C. So mean of C of, then all values are considered. Then variability measures, you can see variability measures. So variance, the syntax of variance in R is equal to VAR of X, whatever the data vector. Then standard deviation, you can use square root of variance of X, SQRT of VAR of X. Then range values also possible here. So in syntax, using maximum value minus minimum value, which gives the range. Then interquartile range also using third quartile minus first quartile formula, but in R directly using IQR, interquartile range, so which gives the measure. Then quartile deviation also. So third quartile minus first quartile divided by 2. This is nothing but interquartile range by 2. So simply you can use IQR of X by 2, which gives this quartile deviation. Then mean deviation can be calculated using sum of absolute ABS of X minus mean of X divided by length of X using this formula. Now on the same example, let us demonstrate all this. So now we have marks here. So now first variable of marks, that is variance, var of marks. It use the variance. Then standard deviation, sqrt of variance of marks. It gives the standard deviation. Then another one, IQR, interquartile range. So what are the formula theoretically mentioned? The equivalent command in R, simply IQR of marks. So then what are the others? So other than IQR, then deviation. So IQR of marks divided by 2, which gives the deviation. So then another one, sum of absolute of marks minus mean of marks by length of marks. So like all measures we can calculate. So which is called as, this is IQR marks by 2 quartile deviation. Then mean deviation, this is sum of absolute of marks minus mean of marks by length of marks. So then all are similar, some more examples are given. Then coming to our last part of our session, statistical functions part 4. Again here we will discuss some graphical tools. Previously we discussed about bar plot, pie chart, histogram, etc. Here some more box plot and bivariate plots. These are some more graphical tools. So box plot is a graph which summarizes the distribution of variable by using its median value, quartile value, minimum maximum value. So here why we are discussing these tools now means these are all depending on the previous statistical methods. Previously also first we discussed some measures followed by some graphical tools. Depends on the previous measures, like that, the dependencies. The syntax for bar plot in R is simply use box plot within function bracket. So whatever the data, so which draws a box plot. Now let us take the same vector marks. Simply you can apply box plot of marks. Now see, this is the structure of box plot for the vector marks. Then similarly bivariate. Now we will also run this one. So already we have marks here. BOX, PLOT, box plot of marks, which gives the box plot of the vector marks. And another one, bivariate plots, which provides first-hand visual information about the nature and degree of relationship between tau variables. Relationship can be either linear or non-linear. So here various types of plots through examples are demonstrated here. So the command for this plot command, first here we will use one of the bivariate scatter plot by using the plot command which consisting of 2 data vectors. The syntax is plot of x comma y, then plot of x comma y type. Here various types of scatter plots are there. So the following table gives all the types of scatter plot possibilities. So whenever you can give this particular type, the scatter plot will be in this type. For example, whenever the type is P, which gives the points dot dot dot. Whenever you can give L as the type, it gives lines dash dash dash. If you can give both for both, then C, it gives lines part alone of B, that is both combination. Then if you can give O for overhead, then if you can give S, it gives staircase format. If you can give H, histogram type. So now all this we will see with example how these type plot graphs will be. Now let us take the examples. For example, here one vector is created for daily water demand. So in the city, 27 days are stored in the vector water, and another one, a temperature vector is also created. So that is x, water is x, then temperature is y, with x comma y data vectors. So now we will see the plotter with various types. First let us create these 2 vectors. So clear the console. So now let us copy the command already mentioned here. So water equal to 27 days water usage in the city is stored in the vector water. Now you can see is the water vector. Similarly, temperature values day wise on same days. So here that is stored in TEMP. So temperature. Now you can call the temperature vector. Now you can see. So now you can use the command plot of without using the type default. Here you can see. So this is the scatter plot diagram with data vectors water comma temperature. Water is placed in x-axis, then temperature placed on y-axis. So the combination values so are mapped water usage based on the temperature. So this is the default scatter plot. So now by using type here, this graph shape will be changed. So now with the same command, simply you can change the type value. Suppose here I have taken type as L, means lines. Now you can see previously we have circles. Now the shape is changed to lines format. So now other one, if you can take overhead, so that is O. Now you can see. So circles and lines will be overheaded. This is the graph. Now you can take a combination of both using command B. Now you can see both the combinations. So then other combinations, what we have, staircase combination. Simply you can take S here. So this is the, see, the graph looks like staircase, steps type. Then you can take histogram type. Simply you can give H. Now you can see histogram type. So these are all the various types. We have L, O, B, S, H. Then the corresponding scatter plot graphs are displayed. Then, okay, whatever we demonstrated, same screens presented here. Now last one, we have another one to make smoothing of scatter plot. The command is scatter.smooth of the two data vectors. Provide scatter plot with smooth curve. So you can use simply command scatter.smooth. So with the two data vectors. So run this one, scatter.smooth. So here water comma temperature, the two data vectors, water comma TEMP. Here you can see the vector name wrongly mentioned, WATER. Where is this? You try to run again. Scatter.smooth. Output is hidden, I think. Let us see. So again, freshly you can do. So no problem. Again, we will redo. Sometimes maybe some interruptions happens. So to make smoothing of the curve, you can use scatter.smooth command. So let us create the two vectors again. Because here we closed the window. So water and temperature TEMP. So then we are running scatter.smooth. Here you can see. Previously this was hidden with the maximization of screen. So here you can see the curve is smoothened. The line is smoothened here. So using scatter dot smooth. So next, coming to the last concept here, matrix scatter plot. So here for that we can use the command pairs command, allows the simple creation of a matrix of scatter plot. So here we are using cbind, also again combining vector command. Pairs of cbind of water comma temperature. So which gives the output as in this form. This is matrix scatter plot. So let us run this one. Pairs of, so this is the output. So this is matrix scatter plot command. Okay, now till this, I have completed what are the topics I have taken. So if you want for full course, so I have recorded all the videos and uploaded in the YouTube channel. That link is given here. You will access the full course lectures of R programming. Then I have collected some MOOCs certification courses on R software in the international as well as national. So my same course was launched in the Udemy platform, international platform. This link is also given. So whatever my lectures, so that is also an international certification with the nominal fee only. If you want certification, you can get it. Then NPTEL also, SWAYAM NPTEL offering one course on introduction to R software. So every semester that course was commenced. For examination, you need to pay 1,000. For learning is free. Then IBM Cognitive also R101 is there. The link is given. Then in IBM Machine Learning with R also there. Then Coursera International R programming is there. So various platforms are there. If you want to get expertise on R, you can make use of national and internationally recognitions. Then some useful links also provided here. So the R project for statistical computing, the official website. Then R with the data mining, one official link is there. All resources are there. Then NPTEL Introduction to R software link is also there. Okay, so I would stop here and I wish all of you good luck for your career and good luck in learning the R programming. So if you have any queries now you can ask. I am ready to clarify.